Hi guys, so I'm back with another video, and today I wanted to do another video. Recently, last Monday I think, and the BooktubeSFF Awards was announced, the shortlist for the BooktubeSFF Awards for this year. I've already planned out everything I want to do with this. I love doing the BooktubeSFF Awards every year. I love participating. I like all of the new books or authors that I'm introduced to in these, because there's so many books that I never hear of or that I never get to, and BooktubeSFF Awards pushes me to read a couple of books that I wouldn't have read otherwise. So my favorites that I'm not sure if I would have read it had they not been nominated, and that is The Calculating Stars and Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow. And this is one of the reasons why I enjoy the BooktubeSFF Awards so much, because they introduce me to some really awesome authors, some really awesome books, and this year I hope it's going to be the same. Now this year we don't have the graphic novel category, which I think is fine, because they're always so expensive and I always need to buy them, because my library takes forever to get graphic novels translated, and they only more or less have translated graphic novels, so it takes a while for me to get a hand of them, and I usually can't get to them at all. But let's get over the shortlist for the year. There are obviously fantasy, science fiction, debut category, YA, middle grade, and short fiction. So there are 6 different categories. This year I didn't nominate any books, because I had one book or 2 books maybe I could nominate that I really enjoyed, but I knew even if I did nominate them, they're so underrated authors and so underread authors that I was sure that wouldn't have done anything anyway. Also because of the books that did come out this past year, and I'm not surprised about the list for this year. However, I still have managed to read. I have read 5 of the nominees, or well, I DNF'd one of them, and yeah, I personally didn't enjoy any of them like super much, but at least I read them, so I don't have to think about them again, and some of them overlap. So yeah, one of the reasons why I am aiming to read all of the things that I haven't read. I've come to realize that if I have to vote for a category, no matter what category it is, if I haven't at least tried out all of the books, how can I make an informed decision about the vote that I give if I haven't read all of them? How am I sure that the last book is never going to be the one that I want to vote for? Even if I feel like it's not one I'm going to like, maybe it will surprise me. So at least I need to make an attempt on all of the books. And so yeah, let's move on to the list. The first category is fantasy. Fantasy, I haven't read any of the books. In fantasy, there are 3 nominations. The first nomination is Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Maria Garcia. I'm super excited about this one. This is one I've really been looking forward to read. I wanted to get my hands on a copy of this, but I didn't find it on sale anytime, but now I've bought it. I bought my own copy from Book Depository because it's nominated, so it will get here in a couple of weeks, I guess. So 2 other books that I was nominated is books I already own, so I'm pleased about that. The first one is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is really large, but yeah, I wanted to read it, and it's nice to have a push to actually get to it, so it doesn't sit around on my shelves too long unread. And the other one is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. Also a bit of a chunker, but not as big as the other one. This one is 498 pages, I guess. So 2 large books. And the Silvia Maria Garcia one is like 338 pages or something. I checked because I have to plan things. On the sci-fi nominations list, the first book that was nominated was Recursion by Blake Crouch. I read Dark Matter. I think I put it in a storage box under my bed, because when I read it, I initially liked the first 80% of the book. I thought it was well written. I thought it was I was really into it. But then the last 20% really ruined it for me. So I really felt like I was cheated by the author. And at the time, I think I didn't give the author the rating, or the book the rating that I wanted to. So I wasn't really sure if I wanted to read Recursion. But now that it's on my TBR, or as it's on one of the nominees, I'm planning on reading it. So with Recursion, now that it's nominated, I definitely want to read it, and I have to read it, and I can get access the audio from Storytel. I have heard, however, from people from the BooktubeSFF Discord server that people who read Blake Crouch and had the same feeling like me has really been enjoying Recursion and loved it and gave it 5 stars. So this makes me happy, and I hope that I will enjoy it as much as them. The second nominee is one I've already read, and that is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir. I'm not at all surprised to see this one, but you all know, if you follow me for a while, that I didn't really enjoy this one when I read it. I read it back in October, I think, just when it had come out. I wanted to try out and read the very new release that everyone was talking about, and I tried it out and I just didn't connect with it at all. So yeah, give it 2.5 stars. So not my favorite book for sure. And the last nomination is one I'm really excited to read. It is A Memory Called Empire by something Arkady. I wrote it down somewhere, but it's not on this list, so I can't remember it right now. I'm sorry. I was actually planning on almost getting A Memory Called Empire onto my reading list in February, but I decided on some other things because I know this specific book is one of Rhea's from the Book Finish's favorite books of last year, as well as Kalinati, Rachel from Kalinati. And I was trying to do something following your BookTube friends' TBR or favorite books, or reading your other BookTubers' favorite books or something like that. And I decided against it because I wasn't really in the mood. And so instead I decided to lay that off for later and see how it goes later on, if I will do that again. But it means now that I am going to be reading A Memory Called Empire in March or April, because that is the BooktubeSFF months. I also can get this in audio. I hope I'll be able to follow along on the audio, because otherwise I don't know what to do. But I am excited to see where this one goes. Let's take the next category is the debut category. 2 of them are recurrent books. The first one is actually one of them I have to read, but it's one that's already been talked about. Like the first 2 that are nominated is the 10,000 Doors of January by Alix E. Harrow, and I read, how much did I read of this? I think I read the first 30 to 40% of the book and decided to DNF it because it wasn't my thing. So I'm not going to be reading it. It's one I definitely gave a try. It was just not my kind of thing. So it's not ever going to get my vote. I think if I had continued on, it would have gotten a 2 stars. So yeah, it's not my type of book, but I know a lot of people who've read it and enjoyed it. So maybe it's something you will enjoy, and so try it anyway. I don't know. That's up to you. The next one that was nominated in the debut category is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir. As I said, I've already read that one. Didn't love it, and the last one is nominated in the debut is A Memory Called Empire. So another one that's already been mentioned from the science fiction category. So in the YA category, we have 4 nominations. There are apparently a tie between 2 of the books. The first one that's nominated is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. I read the first one last year, Skyward, which I enjoyed. I definitely think that it was fun to read it, and I've heard good things about the sequel. I've purchased a copy of it because apparently my library doesn't carry the sequel, and so I couldn't get to it. And also there's also the thing, if there's a big wait line and I can't get to them, I'll have to get a copy for myself. The second book that's nominated in the YA category is The Wicked King by Holly Black. This is the sequel to The Cruel Prince, which I read last July. I was supposed to read it for the BooktubeSFF awards, but it didn't come in. The whole didn't come in on time. I gave the first one 3.5 stars, but I've heard really excellent things about the sequel, so I'm definitely going to give this one a try, and I will get it from the library in a couple of weeks, so I'll be reading that in March for sure. And the next one that's also nominated is Sorcery of Thorns by Roshani Chokshi. I read last year for the BooktubeSFF awards, we read a middle grade book by her, which is called Arusha and the End of Time, and I definitely really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the sort of Indian folklore part of it a lot, and I think this one maybe will have something like that. So I'm looking forward to see what that book will be about. I think it was already available right now, so I will try and see if I can get to it very soon. I can only have 2 holds out at the same time, so I'm trying to finish up something that I already have and I can get it afterwards. And the last one that's nominated is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I read what was it called? I'll put a cover of it here because I've forgotten the title. I read it back in November. I really enjoyed it. It was something to do with ravens. And it was something to do with the Fae. And I really enjoyed her writing style. And so because of that, I'm even more curious about this one. I'll be reading this one from Storytel, so I can read it anytime, basically. Now on to the middle grade category. There were 4 nominees again, so because there was a tie between 2 books. So yeah, if this storm doesn't stop soon, I'll be like, the Danish weather currently is just rainstorm, rainstorm, rainstorm. We never get a break and everything is wet everywhere. Yeah. So apologize about the background noise. In the middle grade category, I read one of the nominees. The first one is Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab, which is the one I read. I listened to this in audio form because the audio is narrated by Barney Turpin, and I will highly recommend that version of it because Barney Turpin makes everything better. It's not my personal favorite book of all time. It's good for the audience, I think. I gave it 3.5 stars, so I definitely think that a lot of middle graders will approve of this and find it really interesting. There are some discussions that I really enjoyed, but Victoria Schwab is just not my favorite author. I think there are some things that lacks and some things I would have liked to be changed, but yeah, I still recommend it as a book, so I think it's pretty decent. The next one is The Dragon Pearl by Jon Lee. This is one of those Rick Riordan presents line books. It is a middle grade book by Jon Lee. I read Nine Fox Gambit by Jon Lee for BooktubeSFF Awards a couple of years ago. I didn't really enjoy it because I couldn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand the majority of how the scientific world worked. So I've wanted to actually try and reread it and see if I can like it better on the second one, because I've heard that the other 2 books in that trilogy is really amazing. But I'm interested in seeing how he does in a middle grade category or a middle grade book, because I'm pretty sure I would be able to understand what's going on because it's targeted towards another audience. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this for sure. The next one that's nominated is Dead Voices by Catherine Arden. This is the second book to her Dark Places book. I keep mixing those books up. I just finished Dark Places yesterday on Friday, and I'm filming this on Saturday, and I am already on my way into Dead Voices, so I'm currently reading it. I'm planning on finishing it next week. I enjoyed Dark Places. It was a good middle grade, but I wasn't super scared, and I hear that a lot of people who read this is super scared when they're reading it. It takes a lot for me to be scared when I read a horror book, but I did enjoy it. There was definitely some interesting moments in this, so I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, so I definitely enjoyed it, but I wasn't wowed by it in any way, but it was enjoyable. And so I'm looking forward to see how Dead Voices is going to go. I hear that people who read the first one didn't love the second one as much, but maybe I'll be different because I didn't love the first one, so maybe it will be better for me, or maybe it will be bad. I don't know. We'll see. The last and final thing that's nominated in the middle grade category is Sala and Gabi Break the Universe by, forgot the author's name. I didn't write it down. This is again one of those Rick Riordan presents books, and I have purchased a copy of it because I don't have access to it from the library. So it will get here with my book depository order. So yeah. Now, the last and final category is the short fiction category, and the first thing that was nominated is one I already read, and that is This Is How You Lose the Time War by El-Mohtar as well as Max Gladstone. I read this a couple of weeks ago, and it was really hyped, so I decided to pick it up, and I had already wanted to read it because it was time travel stuff. I didn't love it. I gave it 3.5 stars, but it is interesting. So I definitely think a lot of people will read it, and it's very, very fast. So the next one that is nominated is To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. This is a short novella that she wrote. I got this down on my Kindle because there was, I don't know if that was a sale, but it was only like $4 in Kindle. And I decided to get it that way because it was more expensive for me to get the physical copy of it. But I will be reading that definitely next month. I think I have a couple of days where I have a week off next month for vacation, so that's going to be really, really nice. And I know I'm going to be going with my sister to a dentist, and I have to wait around a long time, so I figured I could read this while I was waiting around for that. So yeah, and the last and final thing that I have to read, or that is nominated, is The Test by Sylvain Novelle. Again, it's not one I'm super surprised about. It was a bit hyped from last year, and I'm excited to read it. It's only 2.5 hours in total, so I'll get through this really, really quickly. So I'm looking forward to this one, and yeah, those are all of the nominations. And as I said, I have quite a few books on my TBR already. I don't have as many as usual, but I think that's because there is no graphic novel category this year, but I have 14 books I need to read over the next couple of months, and they shortened the BooktubeSFF season because I think there's some people who think that it drags on for too long, so they shortened it with 1 month. And so, but I guess you could vote for it. I think there's a voting period all over May. So maybe if I'm not finished completely by the 30th of April, I'll still be able to finish up whatever I'm reading and put my votes in a couple of weeks' time. I'll have to look a little bit more into that, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to do that. But I'm planning on trying to get through everything in April and May. March and April, sorry. So yeah, look forward to seeing my TBR, what's on it for March, and it will come up soon. Anyway, this is all I have for you today. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Goodbye!